Song Sung Blue, which is not a Neil Diamond biopic, but like it's a Neil Diamond movie in the same sense that like that
Blinded by the Light
was a Beatles movie, or like that weird Bruce Springsteen movie where that kid just walked around with his like cassette player and like played Springsteen songs. Like there's a lot of Neil Diamond, but it's not about Neil Diamond. Two down on their luck performers form a Neil Diamond tribute band, and through love and heartbreak, prove it's never too late to find love and follow your dreams. Through hardship and heartbreak, excuse me. I actually added that middle line because the synopsis originally made it sound very happy-go-lucky, and it is not. Based on a true story, largely based on a true story, one of the people that the movie is about was heavily involved with the making of the movie. Was on the carpet with Kate Hudson. Kate Hudson in the movie, Hugh Jackman, Michael Imperioli in the movie, Fisher Stevens, Jim Belushi. Klemmer, where do you rank Jim Belushi in terms of favorite Belushis?
A distant second. But I thought you were asking like SNL, because he was on the cast of SNL for a short time.
It's actually the second Jim Belushi movie I've watched in the last 2 weeks, because he's in Jingle All the Way.
Yeah, he's probably in the bottom third of SNL performers. But he's actually not a terrible actor in a bizarre way. Like, he's somewhat likable on screen.
Type of guy.
What's that?
He plays like a very specific guy very well.
Mm-hmm. I was not a big According to Jim fan. It didn't really.
Oh, I forgot that even existed.
Didn't tune in a bunch for that one. $21.6 million at the box office. 78%, 98% split on Rotten Tomatoes. This is the most 98% audience score movie I've ever seen. This is a movie that definitely moves the needle for the average moviegoer, which I'm not saying is a bad thing, but it's definitely it's a very specific type of movie. I also will say it's a very specific type of movie that they don't make anymore. This feels very of like the 90s or like the 80s. Like it feels like an older type of movie, which, like it or not, like I like that. That's like one thing I definitely liked about this. Like it felt like something that we haven't had in a while. 7.6 on IMDb, 61% Metacritic, 3.3 on Letterboxd. Again, it's based on a true story. There is a documentary from 2008 from Craig Brewer, whose recent movies were Coming to America, the sequel. Dolomite Is My Name, one of the more underrated movies, I would say.
Good movie.
15 or so years. The Footloose, but the Kevin Costner Footloose, Julianne Hough. And then he did Hustle and Flow, Oscar-winning movie Hustle and Flow.
Shout out Memphis, Tennessee.
Klemmer, I believe you saw this first, so I'll let you lead it off.
Yeah,
you teased last week. You had some good things to say about this movie.
I like this movie a lot, and you said it's a movie we don't get anymore. You're absolutely right, Jeff, because I think it's a movie for everyone, which is pretty rare nowadays. We have such segmented movies now because they're trying to hit one quadrant where this hits all four. I think this is I really enjoyed this movie. It definitely wears its heart on its sleeve. And I know you like to make fun of like my schmaltz and schmaltz meter. This is where the schmaltz meter was coming to play. We finally hit that movie where this is absolutely true. But it's like a heartwarming story about regular people, which I also enjoyed. The stakes never get wildly high. I mean, their tribute band gets more and more successful. But they don't need to save the world. They don't need to save Neil Diamond. It's nothing crazy like that. It's just two people in love that have had difficult lives, that their lives don't stop getting difficult. They have to deal with a lot of stuff, especially in that back half of that movie. But they love each other and they care about each other, and that goes a long way. This movie really worked for me. I really, really enjoyed this movie. I loved the two of them. I thought Kate Hudson did a fantastic job. And I know she's getting some very light Oscar buzz for this. I doubt she'll get a nomination. But I think she deserves one.
She's in right now for odds. She's in the top 8. She is definitely part of the buzz.
I'll take that. I think she deserves one. I think she's fantastic. Hugh Jackman is really good too. I just walked out of the theater going, wow, like you said, Jeff, I had the same thought too. Like, we haven't gotten a movie like that in a while. I really enjoyed them. I really cared about the characters. And that's what this movie is about. It's about characters. It's not necessarily about plot. It's about these people. And I borderline love this movie. I give this an 85.
I would not say to watch the documentary beforehand. I would say don't. but I would also make sure you're aware that it's a true story. I watched a review the other day. I won't say who it is because I actually like the person. I want to like rip on them. I'm pretty sure they didn't know it was a true story, and they were kind of like ripping on like this was just preposterous. Because if you didn't know it's a true story, you would think you're like, this is ridiculous.
They say it in the title screen though in the beginning of the movie. Don't they say based
for
on
sure, but you know it's like it's but you know how sometimes like they embed like it's pretty like true to the bone, I believe.
Yeah, but some of the timing is different. Like it is more truncated. I believe the real story takes place over a decade. This is over like 3 years. But a lot of that stuff did happen, though.
That's the big thing that happened. You're just like, what the fuck? Like, how does this what is that going on here?
She actually gets hit by a third car, but they had to cut it, like the Iron Claw.
The Iron Claw kid, yeah.
Yeah, which again, that's the one thing. If you've seen the trailer, like she does get hit by a car.
The trailer annoys the hell out of me. And I think it annoys
the trailer, I'll tell you what.
We all agree on that. They give way too much away on trailers.
The trailer is beat for beat.
The trailer kind of sold me on it.
Gooch, okay, 85 from Klemmer. Gooch, what did you give it?
I gave it a 60, which not a bad score, and comparative to where I thought this would be, just that's about double. I thought this was going to be an absolute stinker, and it wasn't. Like Klemmer said, it is a very sincere movie, the type that we just do not get anymore, and I really appreciated that, especially around the holidays when you're trying to go to the movies with your family, with your friends, and have something, more enjoyable to watch. Now, is the back half of this movie enjoyable? No, and that's where my problems really lie. It is based on a true story, so obviously you cannot, rework the plot too much, but the landslide of just tragedy and tragedy after tragedy becomes a little much in that back 40 minutes. But outside of that, Hugh Jackman and Kate Hudson just show off why they're just two A-list stars and A-list actors. Hugh Jackman is fantastic. Like, I don't know why I ever had any doubt that he would come in and just dominate a role where he gets to be very charismatic, sing and dance. Like, that is just straight up his alley. And Kate Hudson, who I've always loved, but sometimes it's, for the most part, she always feels like Kate Hudson on screen. You just see her and you're just like, that's Kate Hudson. She actually felt like she was playing a real role here and really chewing on it. And she's got these prosthetics on, she's much larger than she usually is. I actually rewatched Glass Onion a few days ago and was like, holy shit, she looks way different. So she was great. I like Neil Diamond's music, which I think will affect whether or not you enjoy this movie. So this all came together and ended up being a much nicer time than I thought. But we got to talk about the back half here in a second. I don't want to spoil. I've already given a little bit away, but I feel like that's not giving it justice. We got to get into it.
It is like, again, it's not a Neil Diamond biopic, but like if you want a Neil Diamond movie, like this is
a great.
Look, it's number 2 to Saving Silverman, but it's up there. It's definitely a Neil Diamond movie if you want a Neil Diamond movie. Kenjac, what did you? Kenjac and I are kind of in the same camp where you could give me. I said this yesterday, you guys. We could review this in May, and I'm not sure I'd have like an established take on it yet. It's just I was like, what the fuck? What did you give it, Kenjac?
I'm landing on like I think I said initially I was at like it was 60, probably closer to Gooch, and then I think about it more and I raise it a little bit more. I'm right around a 70. I think 70 is good for me for a song sung blue because I think that there's parts of it that works really well. Like the core story, like Klemmer's saying, it's good. Two people find their peace in music and each other, and all the music is good. Like I'm not a Neil Diamond savant or fan, but I enjoyed it. To counterpoint, like I don't think it didn't hurt or help my enjoyment. I think in either direction too much. And I enjoyed the performances for the most part. Jackman is interesting because like the charisma part is great, but like he's singing and I'm like, like I don't know a lot of Neil Diamond, but I don't think he sounds like that. So I listened to Neil Diamond on the way home and I realized he just did an operatic cover of every Neil Diamond song. So instead of getting like the like that rusty sound, he was just like he was like, Sweet Caroline. Like he's doing like that really operatic vibrato shit. And I'm like, it just doesn't really sound like him, but it doesn't really matter. And I think all the cast, like you guys are saying, they're all really good. Kate Hudson, like you said, very like that's a real human being performance, which is rare. And I love that. Jim Belushi, I loved him. I thought he was, fucking awesome in this. Really cool side character, which I feel like we miss in, not to deride it, but like schmaltzy movies like these. But there's also there's issues. I think the pacing is wonky. There's a lot of ground to cover and just not a lot of time to do it. Like they'll be like, not to spoil shit. Like they're just talking, now they're married. Kid hates you, now loves you. They're not popular, now they're popular. Like it's a very like jumpy, very, very jumpy, and there's just not enough time to breathe. And I don't think they did a great job at establishing their setting. I texted you guys after. I'm like, I didn't realize this was set in like the early-ish 90s until like 20 minutes in. I thought it was modern day. Like, because they were talking about like things and people like they were ancient. And it's like, you're talking about a guy that was this song was 10 years old at this point in the movie. Like, it's not that old. So I think they didn't do great there. I don't think they did good jobs with other transitional stuff, but yes, I think 70 out of 100 is fine for me. We'll talk more about the more specifics, like you were saying. Gooch back half gets really wonky, and I do think there's some not casting issues, but like some issues with certain things that take you out of it a little bit.
Yeah, this is it's a 71 for me. I like it's hard to say you enjoyed this movie at times, and that's not even like, I'm not even saying it like a knock way. It's just like it's sometimes you're just like, Jesus Christ. I would agree with that. It feels I don't even, again, I'm struggling to really discuss this movie because it just kind of like stunned me to my core in spots, but it's a really like nice story in spots. It's obviously very heartbreaking in other spots. It's this weird thing where it's, if this wasn't a true story, I'd say it was emotionally manipulative, but it is a true story. And I think they tie together how heartbreaking some of it is with how nice some of like the upswings are as well. And that made it palatable. And I guess I'm using the word enjoyable for the most part for me. But again, I do think, I don't know, it's just one of those weird things where I'm going to critique it, but then not tell you I have a solution for it. It almost feels like it's one too many uppercuts that it hits you emotionally, or it just kind of threw me off kilter a little bit, where like I do kind of wish maybe it would, again, they cover a lot of ground. Like Klemmer said, like it is definitely like changed a little bit in terms of like the timeline and how they tell it. Maybe it's like one or two less things that like kind of have that downswing in terms of emotion for me that would have helped it a little more, because it just doesn't always flow perfectly for me. And again, it kind of feels like it's a bit too much at the end, where I would have liked maybe more. And it ends on like a nice note. But that was kind of my thing is I think they had a lot to work with, and they didn't fit all the pieces together perfectly. But there's a lot to like here, and I am not shocked that Klemmer likes it more, but not even that like more people like it more than Klemmer like it. People love this. People like one of their favorites of the year. So I'm not really stunned by that at all, because I get it. I do get it. It's just not exactly my thing, like not my favorite type of movie. So the kind of the big spoiler stuff we'll get into, we're all kind of we're in that range between 60 and 80s. So kind of like in that middle where I think I recommend it for sure. Really well-made movie. I think Kate Hudson's really good. I didn't love Hugh Jackman, but there's a lot of performances like this I don't love Hugh Jackman in. Some of the other supporting stuff was fine. The big spoiler is as she gets hit by a car. That's the big moment in
like
this movie.
Really fucking hit by, like, it's crazy.
Did you guys laugh at that scene?
Again, if you didn't know it was a true story, you'd be like, well, that's ridiculous.
I laughed. I laughed out loud. I thought it was a joke. I thought it was like a dream or a nightmare or something.
That's what I thought.
Like,
it's crazy.
It's crazy. The way that they shoot it too is just like she's like in the garden looking out from the window, and it's visceral.
It's very abrupt because it's the same shot as we see with Hugh Jackman, like just kind of playing on his guitar. It tracks over, and then all of a sudden she gets hit by a car.
And the smash.
It's very jarring, and the trailer gives it away, which is fucking crazy because the whole way it's shot is supposed to be a surprise. You're supposed to react, maybe not laugh like Kenjac did, but have a little bit of like, holy fuck.
So I didn't even see that coming at all. So like,
you're not supposed to.
Yeah, and the smash cut and the cutoff of the music made it feel like it was a punchline. It made it feel like it was like a literal like a pop star level punchline.
It feels like a different movie. Like it feels like it switches to a completely different movie at that point.
And then they do it again later, but we'll talk about that. Yeah, which is crazy.
Yeah, they kind of ends with her in the same spot in her garden where she gets hit by a car, which I think it's a nice moment. But again, that comes after, like, obviously at the end of the movie, he dies in a very tragic way. Has multiple heart attacks, multiple issues, multiple health issues. That leads to the tragic way he dies. It just never goes like it every time it's going right, it just goes wrong for them, basically, is what it boils down to. And even in those final moments and like their last concert, last show, or whatever, it's like it still comes with tragedy of him passing. So yeah, it's a heavy ass movie. It really throws a lot at you. I don't know. I mean, maybe, but again, it's tough because like it is a true story, and it's like a lot of times these true stories, they play this stuff up, right? Where it's like they added some things, but this would be the case where it's like they really didn't add anything. But like, you're really gonna take anything out? I don't know. It's kind of a tough.
Some people just like have shit like luck. Like obviously this is an extreme example, but like you have couples that it just for whatever reason everything just kind of just doesn't break for them, and I think there's a lot of people out there that just don't have it easy, and like we're pretty blessed, the four of us, but there's some people just like it never works for them, and no matter what they do, no matter how hard they try, and I think that's a lot of people out there. So I think like they can watch a movie like this and be like, oh, I can kind of relate to these regular people who just don't have it easy, and shit, no matter how hard they try, it just kind of keeps knocking them down, but they keep getting back up. It's the resilience. That's what makes the story so inspiring. And that's what the real takeaway of the story is how resilient these people are. It's not necessarily a tragedy, which I think is the story of Iron Claw, which the movie I also loved. This movie's about resiliency, not about tragedy.
Yeah, I think they did a good job of that with the one scene, which I thought was good. And AA, where like the one lady was like talking about like how much like, it's like, oh, I envy the young people, not because of this, but because like they don't realize like shit just doesn't work out, it sucks. And like he takes that and he like really stews on it and like moves on, and like they make it work. They end up like fucking opening for Pearl Jam. It's sick. And then like all that part of it is cool. It's just like I don't love the way they executed this as far as like pacing wise, because there's so much shit to cover. There's a lot of ground to cover here. And obviously they condensed like a 15 year long story into 3 years.
Yeah.
Like, what are you going to do? But like, I think this, and I text this in our chat too. I think this would have been a really good, like 5-part series. If you like cover a different little section with each like 40-hour long episode, whatever. And I think but condensing it turned it into an okay movie. And I think that's kind of not a shame, but I think it just turned it into something a little bit lesser with the amount of time they had.
Yeah, in the real story, so she gets hit by the car, I believe in the year 2000. I'll look that up. And then he dies in 2006, hits his head. They end up still performing, and then he dies later on after getting put into a coma. They find, I think, brain. But yeah, 1999, excuse me. She got hit by a car in 1999. 7 years later, he died after he hit his head, fell and hit his head, and then they performed. Then he goes to the hospital, and they find brain bleeding, and they never wakes back up.
They like met in the 80s, right? Like they met in like the late 80s or something. Like this whole meeting story.
Yeah, they met in 1987.
Yeah.
Yep, 1987.
87 to 2006.
He's a vet.
Right.
He had alcohol problems. He got sober. It is like it's almost like somebody took like every like harrowing true story from the year and like merged them into one movie. Like that is how crazy the story is. I've not watched a documentary. I'm actually planning on watching a documentary now. I was told not to watch it because people said it just kind of it's based on the story like pretty. Again, the timeline condensed, but like kind of letter of the law, like it's based on like what it's based on. So they said, don't watch the documentary yet, but I'm going to watch it. It is fascinating. It's like this just stunning true story.
There's also the element of financial stress that umbrellas the entire movie. There's a really good line in the movie. I've been thinking about really nonstop since the movie ended. Like the daughter says to Hugh Jackman, she's like, her car breaks down and they end up having to use instead of like going and buying a new radiator, they're like, trying to patch up this hole. And she's like, we're the kind of people that just try to fix stuff that's broken. Other people buy new stuff. And it's like, oh, that's like so on point. Like I've been in that situation. Like we didn't have a ton of money growing up. And like you were just always trying to patch that hole and trying to like figure out a way to like somehow get to the next thing as opposed to just buying a new one, which is like such a nice luxury to have. And I think that also the financial stress, I think a lot of people deal with that on a regular basis, especially a lot of families and stuff. And I think they did a really good job showcasing that and explaining it really well in a way that wasn't like talking down to people or even talking up to people. It was like talking to people like they were real human beings. That's what I liked about this movie. I felt like it was just all felt really genuine and real, even as all this insanity was happening in that back half of the movie.
You know what might have helped it? I don't know if you guys would agree with this. Hugh Jackman might have been too handsome for this movie.
Yeah.
Like, he's not real enough of a guy, I think, for it to really like
Hugh
Kate
Jackman's
Hudson,
always Hugh Jackman to me. That is one of the tough things. Even when he plays, what was that terrible political movie he was in, The Front Runner or whatever?
Oh God, yeah.
Like he's
But,
just
like,
always Hugh Jackman.
it works
And,
in
like,
something
I
like, you remember
can't-
that? Do you remember that Principles movie that they did for HBO? Like it worked for that. I think,
Yes.
where like that kind of worked as like a real guy that was really hyper focused on his appearance. But like this one, it's like, yeah, this loser PTSD guy that can't catch a break, that no one likes, that can't get out of the sphere of like doing impersonations. Like that's like the most handsome man in Wisconsin. That's the most beautiful creature to ever walk anywhere near Sheboygan. Like that guy would be the king of this state. Like that. It's just I think you needed a more regular looking guy to pair with Kate Hudson, because Kate Hudson, that looked like a Wisconsin mom. Like that was an awesome casting, and all the singing and emotion stuff I think she did was great. And it's not disparaging Hugh Jackman. It's just like I don't think he was maybe the best fit for this. Charisma, like you were saying,
the
Gooch,
songs
that's
were
right.
so good though. Like I know you kind of like, you guys are kind of knocking. I think having him play these songs, I like Neil Diamond. I don't say I'm a huge Neil Diamond fan, but I enjoy it, and it made the movie have a whole like life to it with the songs. And I think he's a pretty talented guy when it comes to singing and performing music. I'm not saying he's the greatest actor of all time, but that stuff really worked for me. And
He
I
just
thought
only
Kate
sing
Hudson
one
was
way.
pretty great too.
He can only sing like it's Les Mis is the problem. He can't sing like he's singing Neil Diamond. He can't change the
That
inflection
didn't
of
bother
his
me
voice.
too much.
No,
They did
worked
address
for me.
it directly in the movie too. He's like, I don't really sound like Neil Diamond. Like I
He
can't.
didn't
really
sound
sing
like
these
fucking
songs.
anyone else he was singing like. He just like he does the operatic twang on everything, which I don't think is necessary at all. But I think that's fine. But another thing that took me out of it, I don't know if you guys would agree with this. That face didn't exist in 1990s.
Which daughter?
The what do you call it? Kate
I
Hudson's
think
daughter.
it did. I was alive in the 90s. I was
That
around
lady-
age.
That lady
It
had
did.
like that mewing TikTok girl face, which like that really like made me think like, oh, that's not a 1990s face.
No,
That's a
I
fake
disagree.
face.
I disagree. As someone who was in high school in the 1990s, I disagree.
I guess can't argue with that experience, but I just that was something that took me out a bit.
How did we feel about the Creed, the Eddie Vedder cameo? That's the point, Kenjac. When I realized what time, like when we were, that
Yeah.
was what gave it away for me. It's like,
brand
oh,
new
okay,
guy.
early '90s.
Yeah. Klemmer, I don't know, you probably the biggest Pearl Jam fan here.
I love
man.
Pearl Jam. I was excited that they were, on some level involved in or whatever, had a small role in this movie. The Eddie Vedder actor, that took me out of it. I'm not gonna, not my favorite part of the movie. But, like, what do you do with that though? Like, it's tough.
Yeah.
Tough.
I thought it was a nice
Yeah.
moment.
So yeah, kind of middle of the road average for us. Kind of right where Kenjac and I
I have a
are.
top 20 of the year, Jeff.
That's I know. 85 from Klemmer, 60 from Gooch, low 70s from me and Kenjac.
Still very worth the watch, like you said.
Yeah,
Like
I would
you
say
recommend.
definitely. I'd recommend it because I do know
Yeah.
a lot of people listening will thoroughly enjoy that movie.